All right, welcome everyone who's here. Romero, Sean, maybe some others. If we join up, we got a good week ahead of us. Lots of crazy entries that are going to be placed, and then lots of swing trades that we're going to be holding over the course of the rest of March, maybe into April, probably into April. So we got the week of the 20th through the 26th. Got a couple pairs to look at here. We have gold, of course, Bitcoin, and then pound yen, and then we might actually take a look at the yen basket and maybe a couple other yen pairs because for what I'm foreseeing with the yen as well as the fundamentals that are going on with the world right now, all the geopolitical madness and inflation and everything, we could see money being dumped into these safe havens, which is gold, and the yen is actually a safe haven currency. So with that in mind, we could see the yen gain a lot of strength, which we'll get into in a little bit. So let's start with gold. Let's zoom in on gold. We got the daily. Okay, so we're gonna go back in time first, and then we're gonna apply that same concept into what's going on right now. So I want to bring your attention over into this area, and we're on the daily time frame. And we're going to delete this. We're going to go naked chart here. Let me zoom right in. Alright, what you can see here is we had a massive push to the upside, followed by an immediate snap all the way back down. And what happened is we broke under this low, and then we closed all the way back up here. I mean, we were getting some ballistic moves in the market um, late last month, early this month. Crazy, crazy moves. Now, let me go into the 4 hour. And what you can see here is we have this level that again we got stopped out. The price pulled back up and then it dumped all the way back down, and it retraced almost to the bottom of this wick, but not quite. Let's see, how many pips was that away from the bottom? It was 46 pips away from that bottom of that wick, and it just tapped under this low as well. And then you can see we had immediate turnaround. That was at 9 in the morning, which is New York open, which is why we always enter at 9 in the morning, or 9-ish in the morning, right? So literally perfect entry right there. And we actually did place the entry. I don't know if some of you guys remember. We did place the entry right there. That was a Friday morning. Okay, this was Friday morning. And then we stalled for a little bit, and we made our way up over the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks to almost the all-time high. So the all-time high is 2074, and we hit 2070, right? So this concept, the flow of how the market moved right here, is exactly what I'm expecting to happen going forward with the price right now. So this is what I'm looking at here. We have this daily level that first we had the massive push up and then the massive push down again. As you can see, it happened a little bit slower, right? So this move will probably be in a similar style. It's not going to be like some crazy, you know, crazy push. It's going to happen a little bit slower. We'll have a little bit more time. Um, but the same concepts apply. See how we pushed down, we wicked up, we pulled back up almost to this daily high right here, which 1950, I actually had an alert there, and if we hit 1950, we would have entered a sell, but it just it went to like 19. It literally went to like 1949 point something. It was stupid. Um, so let's dive in to the 4 hour. With that in mind, again, what I'm expecting is price to pull back down pretty close to the bottom of this wick, which is 1895. Pretty much exactly 1895. If I throw the fib on there, which you saw I just deleted, what I want to capture is the initial push up. So I'm going to use the Fibonacci on just this huge bullish candle right here, and I'm going to extend it over, and we can see, look at the prices right here, 1902 to 1908. In my opinion, I believe we're going to hit that 1902 for sure, and maybe even slightly under it. but not that far under it because I'm expecting it to be very similar to this right here. Is like where we pull in very close to the bottom of the wick, but we don't break that wick because this to me is where all the liquidity was pushed in. And if I'm a bank, I don't want to go and draw down. So why would I push the market into drawdown, right? Now, with that being said, I am fully aware of right here. This is the open candle of a few weeks ago, and as you can see, there is no wick there. So I am open to the idea of price coming down to 1890. However, that might not happen. I'm betting on it not happening. Now, if price pulls down here and in the morning we see a liquidity snap and it pushes up and it doesn't move readily, it just kind of stays right around 1900s, that might be a sign that it actually will fill that gap right there with the no wick. So in that instance, then we either reduce the risk significantly on the trade, make it no risk, or um, it comes down here and maybe extend the stop loss a little bit, but I really don't think it's going to come do that. However, I just want to put it out there that if it does, then at the moment when it hits 1890, definitely going to be entering. Actually, I'm going to make that perfect right there. See, that's the bottom of that daily right there. So let me zoom in to 30 minutes. There's not really much more to dive into here. As you can see, I'm going to go to the 5 minute actually, and let's look over here. Let the chart get HD again. Um, I'm going to move this stuff here a minute. So look at these candles right here. Obviously, we have the initial orders being placed down here by the institutions. However, we got the second wave of orders placed in this area right here. And the reason you can tell that is it pushed and it stalled and then it wicked down 3 times, which everything always happens in threes, just like in Bitcoin, how I always say it makes the 3 large accumulation spikes before it moves in major moves, right? So we have a major push up, it stalled, and then it completely exploded from this area. So that tells me this is a very prime area that institutions are stepping in. And with it being a new week, I believe we will see a pullback to that area just to make a wick on the weekly and let other institutions in because some of them don't want to hold the positions over the weekend. So they might have closed the trades at 1950, which ended up dropping the price, right? Because we pulled back. If you think about it, well, I mean, it jumped all the way up here and then it drained all the way back down. So that is what I'm expecting is this week to come down and make a wick and come very close to this area and then completely explode into all-time highs, 2,100. So yeah, that's it. This is the first target, by the way. This is why that's marked. This will be the first target because in the instance that price is not going to make all-time highs, no matter what, even if it's going to drop and hit these lows, how we originally thought was going to happen from this mark, and then the war happened. So even if price is going to drain like that, it's going to come up here at least to 2,000. Um, just to make that head and shoulders and get more liquidity. It just makes so much sense. So no matter what, I believe we are going to see at minimum 1,000 pips to the upside, possibly more, possibly a all-time high. And as you can see, the 30-minute we had the 1, 2, 3 already, so now we're just going to get that pullback, and then we'll see a huge push up. All right, so that is it with gold. Pretty much just see it push down to 1900, possibly a little bit lower, and then an explosion. But I will personally be looking to enter the trade right above 1900 with a stop loss under that wick. And then obviously if it ends up breaking that, the entry will be placed at 1890, and that's pretty much the last draw. I guarantee you it's not going to go lower than that. unless I'm just dead wrong, but I really don't think so because a couple of the people that I'm in tune with, they all see the buys. Some of them are actually already in from down here, so the vision is definitely new all-time highs. So that's what we're going to be waiting for. With gold going forward this week, the entry possibly Monday even. I'm actually betting on Monday morning for sure. And then we're going to be holding probably for a couple weeks. So once it, excuse me, I got the hiccups. Once it pushes away from this area, stop loss is going to the entry. Then I'm not touching a single thing, not taking partials, no anything, just letting the trade go and letting it, come to fruition. With that being said, let's move on to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is one of my favorites. Okay, we're going to start on the daily here because the current trade is an intraday. Actually, yeah, we'll start on the daily here. So as you guys know, I am still looking to take this from 46,000 to 30,000. Right? It just makes so much sense. It's so clear to me. I broke down last week, I believe, how you can see over here before price pushed down lower than these lows right here, it pushed all the way back up, spiked that high out, and then it completely drained, and then it accumulated, and then we seen all-time highs. So that is something very, very similar to what I'm expecting to happen here. So actually, before I zoom in, I'm going to delete all this stuff actually. So I had the VWAP. You know what? I have to zoom in. I have the VWAP started right here, which is the daily candle or the daily open of when price pulled into this area. So I want to see, since it's been accumulating here, where is the market? Is it overpriced? Is it underpriced? Now I'm expecting the market to get underpriced one more time before making an explosion to 56,000. So, or I'm sorry, 46,000. And if you look at this huge wick, that's hilarious. Um, but if you look at this huge wick, we can see we tap this area and it looks like we're getting massive rejection, and the hourly candle closes in 7 minutes. So what I'm expecting is that push down into this area right here. Okay. Those lines ahead, I gotta go to the 5 minute for. Actually, I believe it was the 10 minute. Nah. What time frame was it? It was right here. So this 30-minute candle over here, this imbalance, you can see how this wick did not come and fill and touch the level that this wick did. So that is the first area where I was looking for buys, and as you can see, price dumped in there and then we pushed up out of there. And the second is going to be this high right here, this specific high right here, but I'm just going to drag the line over because it lines up with that as well. In fact, I could drag the line over more, and it lines up not exact but pretty well. As you can see, price either is, it flips on this. It's either going to push up from this line exactly or push down. But we're just going to keep it over here for now. So this area is where I'm mainly looking to enter. I would like to see it, or below, I should say, or below. Because the VWAP is right here. So what I'm expecting is after the new daily candle starts, which is, it's two different times depending on, uh, like on my MetaTrader, the new daily candle starts at 5 p.m., which is in 5 minutes, but on TradingView it starts at 7 p.m., which is very strange. But nevertheless, over the next few hours, what I'm looking to see is Bitcoin push down into, or I should say below 41,000. Okay, so if price can come below 41,000, hopefully around 40.5-ish, because if we look at this candle here, there is no wick. So I'm actually going to delete this now that it's already tapped that area. We had initial reaction around 60, 70 pips, and now we're pushing back down. So what I really want to enter is under this area right here. Now, in the instance that we break under these lows, let me go to the daily and show you something in the past, and then we'll go into the present. Check this out. Right here, push up. Stalled, stalled. Looks like it was about to drop, right? See these two daily lows? Then we pushed down, stalled for a minute, made this low right here. The next day we pushed down again, but we did not break that low, and that's when we exploded above this high right here. As you can see, we slightly wicked above that. With that in mind, where are we at? Come on. That is possible we have something like that here. So what Sean was pointing out earlier, we have these weekly highs right here that have not been tapped. As you can see, this wick did not touch this level right here. So in the instance that we break under 40,000, this wick right here, if we push under this wick, I guarantee we are going to push at least, that's only 100, that's only $200 difference. But I believe we're going to push right into this area then before we explode, and I think it'll happen very fast if it breaks. But as of right now, I do not believe we will break that low. As of right now, I strongly believe we will push under this level, under the VWAP, and then we should wick out of this area and continue to fly to 46,000. One more thing real quick is I look at these wicks. This is the moment price actually took off from. As you can see, okay, you could argue, all right, well we made this low, and then we made this low, okay, but then we pulled back, and then we made this low, and that's when price actually launched. So with that, I'm going to highlight that wick. I'm going to zoom out the time frame to 30 minutes, and you can see that is right at 40.5, which is exactly what I was saying. So in my opinion, I believe we will just kiss 40.5 thousand, just a little smooch, right? We're not going to make out with it. We ain't going to get all crazy with it. We're just going to give it a little kiss, and then we're going to explode up to 46. Let's see if, kind of like, let's see if we can find it now. Alright, this is that example I keep referring to in the past on the 30-minute time frame. As you can see, look at this, guys. Look at this. Alright, I guess I'll draw a line there. We pulled back to this precisely, just with a little kiss. And then obviously, as you can see, maybe tricked some people into either A, closing their buy position, or selling because it pushed down there. But look what happened. It exploded. Okay? Exploded. That's exactly what I think is going to happen here. I almost want to delete this line, but I'm going to keep it there. So I'm probably going to place a buy limit at 40,600, and I'm not going to touch anything. I'm just going to let price smack it and then rise up because I believe it's going to be a wick. I don't think we're going to come down here with the candle and hang out, install, and then push up. I think we're going to snap down there, and then we're going to continue to rise. So, yeah, anyone listening right now, Romero, Allen, my plan is in a little bit, I am going to put that buy limit right there. I'm going to put an alert, actually. I'm going to put an alert right above this line, but I am going to put a buy limit down there. Okay, and then obviously we will cross this bridge in the chat when it comes time, but I believe we are going to see a major spike right here and then a massive push to the downside. Massive, massive push. Even right here, guys, look at this. Prime example. See how he made this high, and then before it made this huge move down, it spiked that high out. It had to. It does it every single time. That's why I truly believe we're going to see 46,000 before we get another massive push down. And it just makes sense. It just makes sense that price, it just, that flows so well. It just makes perfect sense in my mind. And hopefully your guys' too. Now, one very, very side note is this level right here. I just want to touch on why I have this level right here. First, let me delete that. In the instance that we break 40,000 and we come down to these highs right here. Actually, let me zoom in. Let me zoom way in. In the instance that we break here, which again, hold on, before I get into this, I don't think what I'm about to say has happened, but I want to speak it because I want to be prepared for it if it does happen. So again, I don't think this is going to happen, but if it does, then we're prepared for it and we can capitalize on the opportunity. If price keeps pushing down and it blasts through here and it closes through here and it just looks like it's going to keep falling, this is the next level that I'm going to look to buy from, because no matter what, I guarantee we're going to hit 46 and then we're going to drop to 30. I shouldn't say guarantee, but it is what it is, because that would give us a major 1, 2, 3. Now that doesn't need to happen, and again, I don't think it will, but I just want to be prepared in case it does. Because the reason I don't think it's going to happen is because of the weekly. So let me get it situated and make sure it loads HD for you guys. Look at this weekly candle. Right, I'm expecting a very small wick and then a continuation up. However, if we push down and we keep going down, I believe we have no other option but to spike out all of these lows right here. We wick that and then we fly back up. But again, I do not think we will actually see that happen like that. But it's possible. It is possible, which is why I wanted to talk about it briefly. Very possible. Alright. Last pair that we're going to go over, and as far as I go really dive into it, is the pound yen. And then after this, we'll look at the yen basket and maybe just touch real briefly on a couple other yen pairs because they're all linked. In fact, actually, we're going to talk about the yen basket first. Okay, let's go to the weekly time frame. And let's go like this, and we'll zoom out. Wait for it to load HD. So, again, every time we start with analysis, I always go back in time and see what price has done, because price will never, ever, ever do the exact thing that it did before, but it will always, always, always do something very similar. And that's what I'm expecting to happen here. Huge, huge drop off. Okay. Then we actually drop off into new all-time lows since at least the chart was made. But then what happens the week after this? We spike down slightly, then we push up, it stalls for a week, and then we continue to rise. We pull up into these highs up here, right? That's what I'm expecting to happen here. Now, the fundamental reason I believe this is going to happen is because the yen, I know I just touched on this when we started, but now Alan's here. The yen is a safe haven currency, very similar to how gold is a safe haven commodity or investment. So in times of recession or doubt in war and things like that, it makes sense to pull your money from a risky currency like the dollar or the pound or the euro and put it into a safe haven currency like the yen. if that is going to happen, then that would cause the yen to gain strength. If everyone's dumping their wealth in here, it's going to push up. So I believe we're going to get a very similar style push um, as this. And my target are these three highs here, depending on how long and how bad this stuff, geopolitical issues, go on. And there's not that much more to it. The yen pairs, I don't really, um, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't really dive deep into them on a small time frame basis, but I do want to show you one more thing real quick. Look at the flow of the price here. See how it stalled? We made these lows. People thought, oh, maybe it's going to go up, and then it can trickle down a little bit more. And that's actually when we turned around. We made a double bottom. As you can see, we made this low, and then it spiked that low, and then we didn't go back since. Now look at what price is doing right now. Similar style, right? Actually, one more thing. See up here? We get this chop, pushes down, get the chop again. Okay, then we get the actual reversal, right? Right here a little bit. Now we're going to get the actual reversal. And yes, this is the first target. So if price just pulls back here and it rejects heavily and the structure changes bearish and the economy starts getting better and geopolitical issues start going away, then maybe people pull their money back out of the yen and we see resistance from this level. Okay, I'm open to that idea. That's why I have that line there, or that area there. So with that in mind of the yen going up, that brings the pound yen to go down. Whoops. I'm trying to get this out of the way. There we go. On a weekly time frame, let me get this zoomed in and delete this crap. On the weekly time frame, this right here, this push down, these two huge candles, and then this push down, that is the equivalent of what I just showed you on the yen when I first pulled it up. I showed you on the basket, it had two major weeks down, and then it started flying again. That is this right here. That's this. So that's what I'm expecting to happen right here. Very similar, right? We have a major push up. I'm expecting the yen to push up into these highs, shoot, maybe even higher, make a 158.3 wick, maybe lower. So let's dive into that and get an exact. Let's change it from maybe to for sure, right? Looking at the daily, we have this level right here that we're touching. And what really interests me is these two wicks right here. So let's go all the way down, all the way in. You know what, we're just going to dive all the way into it and we're going to look back at history. We can see the last time price was in this area. 158 essentially was rejected very heavily. We drained, we pulled back. Look at these wicks. Look how beautiful that is. We got 1, 2, 3. I tell you guys, everything always happens in 3. 1, 2, 3, each one higher than the last, and then a complete drain, crazy dump down. So this area to me is very, very, very important because that is a ton of orders. I mean, the volume that had been placed here on the sells was massive. So with that in mind, I'm going to extend that. I just moved it down a little bit. Oh well. Alright, hold on. Let me zoom out because that is inefficient. Okay. With that in mind, that is the area that I'm going to first be looking for that reaction because we already were looking for sells here and we actually placed sells here that ended up getting stopped out. But you can see we got the 1, 2, 3 and we got the crazy push down, but then the market said, nah, not yet. We gotta wait. We gotta wait for next week. So with that in mind of people already selling right here, I don't think there's a huge chance that we're going to push up all the way up here. But I want to keep that open because it's possible. What I'm looking to do is take possible initial entries right here, depending on what it does. Because if you look at this, this is only a 50 pip difference. So if we enter right here, the stop loss is going to be right above here, right? Because around 50 pips is normally what we do for pound pairs. So in my opinion, I'm going to let this go overnight. And if we explode through here, like if the market has no reaction to this at all and it just explodes through and pushes right through, then I do think we will hit this. We will hit that because that's 120 pips up. The market can move 120 pips up to create a spike. So we might, there's a chance that we're going to hit this. So with the pound, I'm being patient and I'm waiting to see what type of reaction we get at this area. In fact, I'm just going to delete this line. So essentially, what I'm predicting is a sell-off from either 157.7 or 158.2. I'm going to remain patient to see if we can hit 158.2 because you guys know how I love seeing everything spiked out. It would be brilliant if we spiked out that high. That's actually what I'm leaning towards a little bit more, but we did get crazy sell pressure right here. So it's possible that we just hit this area. So staying patient with that. Staying very patient with that. And that's it. That's all the pairs that I'm going to dive deep in. But I just wanted to briefly look at the pound. I'm going to go to the weekly. Or the Aussie yen. Same scenario. The market is extremely overextended. And we are seeing it reach these highs up here. So it's possible that we see a push up into either 89 or 90 essentially. And from these areas is where I'm looking to see it sell off from. Sorry, I just read a text and it totally distracted me. Let's look at CAD JPY. Similar instance, right? If we look where price is, then we look left and see where we're getting into. We're getting into this area of liquidity. We can see last time price was in this area. See how it dumped? It didn't even pull back from this area to, fill any imbalances or create any sort of pullback, right? It stayed right here and the market said, nah, we're pushing it down from right here. So that tells me there's a lot of strength for the sellers in this area right here around 9695 area. So I'm expecting sells to happen on the CAD, yen. Same with all of them, really. I mean, they're all pretty similar. So that is all I got. These are the main three pairs I'm looking at. Let's just do a quick run through, like always. Gold tomorrow morning. Okay, it's very specific. Tomorrow morning at the New York session open, I'm looking to take buys around 1900. Bitcoin within the next few hours, at some point tonight, I'm expecting to take buys around 40.5 ish. And the pound yen, we're looking to see what happens at the reaction of this zone, but probably going to be selling around 158. And that's all it.